Hello, everybody. I'm going to edit my camera a little bit, but let me just define what it means to be a highly sensitive mom or a highly sensitive person. It means that you probably think more deeply than the average person, just like the children I was just talking about. We have so many thoughts about, and we process things so deeply. The dark side of that is we might be a little perfectionist. That's me. I struggle with that. Another thing that we do is we have stronger emotional reactions to just most things, but we also have really strong empathy. We're so aware of others and so thoughtful about others. And then finally, I meant the other thing I mentioned is we notice the subtleties. So like when I first signed on, I was trying to get the perfect spot of wall, and I noticed that I'm noticing, I don't know if you can see this probably, that the light is kind of wavering on the wall. It's making me a little dizzy. Now, I think if I wasn't highly sensitive, I might not even notice it, much less be bothered by it. And I might not worry about what it's like for you, right? But I am thinking about that every step of the way here. So let me see here. I realize I'm not, see, I notice I'm not in the middle of the screen. So what are the subtleties that you notice? And then the last thing is when you're doing more thinking and processing and feeling and noticing, you might become easily overwhelmed or over aroused. Well, this is a trap for mothers in particular. So whether we're talking about your mother or you as a mother, all of that noticing, thinking, and feeling when you're highly sensitive, it makes motherhood much more exhausting and much more challenging. I think probably children need 20% of what mothers do for them. What sensitive mothers think they should do. Let's just say that. And really what they need is they need a lot of those things to be met by other people, not just their moms. And that's a hard thing. It's really hard. I've been following, and maybe some of you have heard me say this, but I've been following some social media accounts of younger moms of younger children. I guess moms can be all ages, but moms of younger children. And one woman, and we're going to post this actually as well. I don't think Kwame has put it up yet, but one mom said she has a 4-year-old and twin 2-year-olds, and she's yet to have an overnight away from her children in 4 years. And she says that she just knows that she's the best and that she can't leave them. And you know what? That's true. 100% that's true for her. She is, and probably for many of us, the best caretaker of her the sensitive woman is the best caretaker of her children. And she's thinking about that so much. Here's the really interesting paradox for moms of young kids and those of us who have teens and young adults, tweens, teens, and young adults, probably true for us too. While we may know best what our child needs, they may not thrive best hearing it and getting it from us. And in fact, the more people who are involved in their upbringing and their socialization and education and love and parenting journey, the more people involved, the better they're going to be. Now, maybe there's a limit at some point, but for the most part, children are going to benefit from that less than perfect care that happens. Yeah, you might get your kids back after a weekend away and you leave them with your friend or the grandparents or even a really skilled nanny. You come home and they are strung out, and it takes a few days to get them back into rhythm. But it's worth it because you know what? If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be the parent that you need to be. Okay, someone says, at what age can we share with our kids some of the tougher realities of life? Such as what I went through as a child, or the issues that caused my kids so much pain as they were growing up. Great question. Okay, let me see if I can come up with a general guideline so this question can be for everybody. At what age can we share with our kids some of the rougher realities of life? Okay, it's true. I love this question, such good insight in this question. It's true that we need to curate what we narrate. At the same time, we do want to narrate a lot for our children. And, I always have this general rule for raising kids and reading books, that children should be exposed to books. I learned this from a children's librarian who was so amazing. I say was, she's probably still around, but I don't know her anymore because I don't have a child anymore. I mean, I do, but he's a young adult. But she always taught that children should read books where the protagonist, the main character, is within a year of the child's age, 2 at the most. Now, that is because they can understand the conflicts of that child. So I think it's important to share some of the difficult things that have happened, but I would use that same guideline that, or a similar guideline that if they can, let me say how I do this. Say I was going to tell my son when he was younger about breaking my arm when I was in 3rd grade. And it was a terrifying experience for me. Well, first I tell the children's book version of it when he's, 7, 8, 9. Maybe was it 3rd grade? I think it was 1st grade, actually. I was quite young. And when he is around that age, I might tell him that story about breaking my arm, but I would tell it like it was an adventure. Can you relate to that? Like the adventure was that, I was doing stunts on my pony, and I did it in a way that he had never experienced it before. And so he bucked me off and stepped on my arm, and it hurt so bad. And I could tell that it wasn't shaped the right way. And I was so scared. But you know what I said to the baby? The babysitter was there. I broke a rule and got on my pony when my parents weren't home. And so I told the babysitter, "It's broken. I know it's broken. I'm not going to be able to ride or swim all summer." So see how I made it sort of like I put it in the concerns that a young child that age would have. So I could tell him that story. I wouldn't tell him until he had over the age of 14. 14 is approximately the developmental age when children start to have the kind of thought processes where they can distinguish right from wrong and have a little bit more of an abstract thinking way in the world. The problem with 14, although that starts to happen, what also is going on around that time? Huge surges of hormones and big growth spurts. So, we know the hormones start, pre-puberty, probably 10, 11, 12, and, earlier all the time for various reasons in our evolution. And then they start to go, they go in waves, just like other times that we have big hormonal surges in our lives. So the hormones go in waves, and that makes them much more volatile. Remember this about sensitive kids, if you're parenting, that up until about the age of 28 or 30, children remain in this sort of adolescent developmental stage through their 20s, but they develop more and more ability to do abstract reasoning. That's why often in university years, young people become very interested in philosophy and the meaning of life, and they question and confront their religion, and they start to change their identity, and they are really, it's the first time their brain has awakened to these ideas. But what I wanted to say is when they are overwhelmed, especially if they're highly sensitive and they become over-aroused, overwhelmed by life, or if they have some mental health issues, we might subtract 10 from their age when they're in that stage. So say you have a 19-year-old and they're just, they've come home from college because it was just so overwhelming, and they've had some anxiety attacks, and they're, they can't even really leave their room, or they have a job that's just making them feel really overwhelmed all the time. You're going to think of that child, that 19-year-old child, as a 9-year-old in terms of what they are able to manage in terms of new input when they're overwhelmed. Now, when they're in their best space, we can think of them as, plus 30 is what I like to say, is a full-on, fully functioning, really astute, really philosophical adult. For children who are not highly sensitive, these things are less extreme, but they remain in the adolescent developmental stage until their 30s. So let's just talk about adolescence for a moment. If we're thinking about adolescence as kind of this span from 10 to 30 now, our lifespan has extended dramatically, opportunities have lessened, and also the way we're living our lives, the way we're raising our children, we are not giving them skills or challenges or sort of anything, any of the kinds of things that they would need to really grow up faster the way we did in earlier generations. So it's just very much changed. Now, because they're thinking so much, as they become older adolescents, it's a great time to have your teaching stories. Plus, they want to adult and they want to know you as an adult. This is a period of time when you're raising, I like to call even the 13-year-olds young adults, young men and young women, or young adults, if they're not binary identified. And because they want to adult and they are learning the skills, and it's our job to teach them the skills. So in terms of this question was about when can I tell them difficult things that happen to me? I'm going to say you can start telling those things around 16 or 17. You can tell them in surface ways. You can start to tell the ideas in more surface ways in the younger teen years. But I would wait until they're really starting to be a young adult. And then when they're really, the best way to do it is when something comes up that's topical. Like, this is painful for me with my young adult because we have completely different tastes, but watching TVs or movies with your kids, and then stuff comes, you know what content they're consuming. The other thing my kid does is he watches YouTube videos, not mine, but he watches YouTube videos and then he loves to show me things. Have you seen this? He watches funny things and political things and philosophical things. So generally, when you consume media with your child, even if it's just so boring, you will have an opportunity to see, you can make a connection. So that's one way to bring it up. So when it's in the, or you see something or you hear something on the news, I am opposed to news for myself, but many families watch news, and the news should bring up pretty much all the horrible things that happen to us. So look for opportunities in the media. But I do think that by the time they are really seeing themselves as young adults, even though sometimes if they're sensitive, they're going to be much younger in their development because they develop more slowly because of all the thinking and feeling that they're doing while they're developing. So I'll give you an example from my own life, but please, for folks who are here, I'm taking questions and I'm answering a question that someone submitted. I'm happy to hear other questions. Let me know how I can support you on this Mother's Day. Anything is fair game. I'm here for you. This is my Mother's Day gift to the community. Okay, so in 1996, I was assaulted at work, and a client tried to kill me, actually, and she was severely mentally ill, and her hallucination told her that I was her mother, paradoxically, since we're on Mother's Day, and that she should strangle me, kill me. So she did try really hard, and I escaped through the intervention of another person and the memory of my self-defense. So be sure that you're young people and that you refresh yourself on your self-defense moves. So I got out of it, and I ended up with a very, very severe physical injury and a very severe mental health injury. I had 2 disc injuries in my neck, and that are still present, but not nearly so acute, and also post-traumatic stress disorder eventually from the whole thing. I missed 4 years of work. So at what point did I tell my child that? In his later teens, I told him that it happened, and that I, that's how, that I did work in community mental health, and I don't now, and that's why. But I didn't tell him all the gory details, just like I'm not telling you all the gory details. Because when I tell it with the drama that it was, it's very shocking and provocative. Now, at 23, he's ready to hear it, and every kid is different. And so when it's relevant, or when we're talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, or trauma, I could share that whole story with him and tell him how I felt about it. Here's your one guiding principle. Are you telling this story for them or for you? This is a very important question. It's something that psychotherapists ask ourselves all the time, or at least the good ones do. When we're in therapy, when I'm in therapy with a client and I have the urge to say something, so I need to think, is this for the client's benefit, or is it to release my own stress or anxiety? So as a parent, I want these to be teaching moments. I don't want my child to think that it's his job to take care of me. Sensitive kids have a tendency to be codependent because of all that high empathy, and especially if they're raised by sensitive parents, at least one. We have a tendency toward it, so we train it into them. So I'm very aware and very cautious. I want my kid to be helpful around the house. I want him to take responsibility for, his own life and to share responsibility in the household for our lives. But I don't want him to take care of me emotionally. And we'll remember this adolescence. It goes until the late 20s and as long as 30. And if you would like a reference for this, I would love to give you something to read. The Teenage Brain by Frances Jensen. We'll put the link in the description next week. But she tells the stories about teenagers and adolescents, and she includes young adults. And she has a lot of really interesting stats about the 20s, being in your 20s. And this is also a great book to either read with your teens and young adults or insist that they read. I've struggled when my kid was a teen, certainly like 17, 18, to get him to read it. So I just, I downloaded facts at him and it did not go over well. But at least you parents would want to read this. And I would say if you have a child from 9 on, after the 9-year change and on, you would want to pick up this book and read it. It's now pretty dated. I'm going to say maybe 2015 it was published. But she did an analysis or a review of research on teenage brains up until that point. And I would say the only thing that's missing is the more current research on the damage of the screens and the phones and social media on teenagers. And a good resource for that would be the website Wait Until 8th, as in 8th grade. Wait Until 8th, Wait Until 8th. So anyway, there's some good backup for what I'm saying there. I want to give another, let's see. Somebody else have any other questions? I could talk about these tweens, teens, and young adults forever. It's my number one favorite topic. But I don't want to put that on people. And I hope that there are other people here who might have questions about how I could support you, or the same person. Any other questions about Mother's Day, mothering, living your life, about your mother, your relationship with your mother, childhood trauma, your children's or yours, or just what are you doing for the day? What am I doing for the day? I think I'll talk about that for a moment. One of the things I like to do, I usually try to make Sunday mornings my day for this. Many world religions recommend a Sabbath. I'm a little bit of a workaholic, so I'm not the best at retreat. And I have a lot of teaching out there in the online world about retreat and the importance of retreat for HSPs and highly sensitive people. And retreat, what we recommend, and this comes from working with Alane Aaron. So Alane Aaron and Alane Freund jointly recommend 1 day a week, completely unplugged, not working, not really using the screens unless you just use them for entertainment, doing spiritual practice, being in nature, exercising, all those things that are taking a bath, whatever your amazing self-care is. And that comes from religious teachings. The wisest teachers throughout time have suggested that we need a day to step back from our lives. So the Jewish Sabbath is from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday. The Christian Sabbath, I don't know how Christians really think about it. I think it's just sort of the day, Sunday. But in some of the more conservative sects of these two religions, which are the ones I'm most familiar with because I'm American, I would love to hear if you have another religion that you know about, how Sabbath is presented in that religion. Please do share it in the chat. So what some of the teachings are, don't use your car on this day, and don't cook even. Prepare your food ahead of time so you can just stay out of work mode. Because let's face it, living life, laundry and cooking and vacuuming, and I just look around my house. Those things are work, right? They don't count as Sabbath. Retreat should be, I hate shoulda, coulda, woulda. There's one right there for you. Leave out of your life the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Retreat is most beneficial when we truly retreat. So I was hoping today that I would retreat. I would have some retreat in my life, and that I would, well, I mean, here I am doing this, but I feel this mission, this calling to support highly sensitive people. So I would love to support you. Let me know in the chat who you are and where you are and how I might support you today. I'm open to any questions or concerns or ideas that you have. Right now I'm talking about retreat. So, and Sabbath. And I think holidays are a great time. They're sort of like the calendar is, whoever made up holidays, whatever they are, has said, hello, step back. And, isn't it paradoxical that Mother's Day and Father's Day don't give us the Monday after off when you work in a traditional environment? They should. That's the most important holidays, in my opinion. So I hope that for you today, that you will be finding some retreat. So for me, I'm not going to go to the beach, but I went to the beach this week already and did some retreating in honor of Mother's Day. Also, today I'll probably meet my friend at the gym and sit in the infrared sauna, maybe do a little weightlifting or stretching or something. Maybe ride the exercise bike. I'm having a war with the pollen right now, so I can't ride my bike outdoors, so that would be good. I'll go to the gym and ride the exercise bike and move my body because that makes me feel so much better. Also, today I'll probably, what do you think about this? I think I'll do some housework. I'm usually running so much during the week that it's hard for me to get it done, and I would love to get a few things done, even though that's not in the traditional definition of retreat or Sabbath. Okay, so as a mom, a highly sensitive mom, I want to add that some of the pressure I feel is that the holiday should be celebratory, that something special should happen. It should be a good thing. And so, like, well, I like treats. And so maybe I will go find myself a pastry or ice cream or something like that. Can't keep those things in the house or they'll disappear because I'm a sugar addict. But what will you do to treat yourself today, I guess is my question. And how will you retreat yourself today? Ooh, I didn't know I was going there. Maybe your treat is just simply retreat. So I was saying also on Sunday, I didn't finish that sentence, but on Sundays, I like to lay in bed longer. I don't sleep well in the morning. Like when it gets light, I tend to wake up. I'm a farm girl. But I love to lay in bed and maybe listen to an audiobook or read or I usually meditate in bed for a while because I wake up too early for me to get up. My body needs more rest. So I usually do meditate in bed, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. Should you sit up on your cushion and have perfect posture and elongate everything and meditate that way? There's a benefit to doing that. There's also a benefit for me to laying in bed with my eyes closed and meditating. And whatever works for you. What's the purpose of your meditation? Is that an appropriate question for the Mother's Day chat, for the Mother's Day live? Maybe not. Maybe I'll go ahead and talk about it anyway. What is the purpose of meditation when you're highly sensitive? I'd be curious. Share with me in the chat or the comments why do you meditate? I think, the sort of the common thing we say is the purpose is to quiet our minds. To give our minds a break from the busyness of all that deep processing and all those strong emotional reactions and all that noticing. It's a lot of brain activity. You've heard me say that brain imaging shows that sensitive people their brains continue working even in meditation or at rest. And that's why we need more downtime, more retreat. So for me, meditation, that's one of the purposes of meditation. Another purpose is to help my mind, my brain, sort of settle enough to be able to get to the deeper meanings. I have a video out there that says the more I meditate, the more I think, and it's very true. That when I finally start to get into some decent meditation, generally something that's been kind of lurking back there I've been thinking about in my subconscious or even unconsciously might come to the fore. And there's a little bit of an awakening in that moment. I have done some consultation, mostly with my main mentor, Alane Freund, and she suggested that it would be okay. And I teach this in my spirituality and sensitivity mini course, which you can certainly find on the Are You Highly Sensitive store. That it's okay to write, to keep your journal or a piece of scrap paper next to you when you're meditating. And if there's something that comes up in your mind that feels important or that you really don't want to forget, or it just keeps coming back over and over again, this thought, these ideas, to go ahead and write them down, because writing literally with a pencil, don't type them on your phone because it will really break your brain waves up out of the meditative state, much more so than writing with a pen or pencil on a piece of paper. But also writing with your hand, there's some research on this that it really does impact your brain in a different way. And for me, when I've written it down, I can let it go because I know it's there. Now, do I sometimes run across a list of things that I've written to remind myself that is 3 weeks old? Yes, I do. But so that's one of the purposes of meditation. Maybe the purpose of meditation for you is to move in the direction of enlightenment, to have a deeper spiritual practice, to find the higher meanings of life. And that's another worthy purpose of meditation. Maybe the purpose of meditation for you is to improve your physical health and to do breath work and to really, soothe the savage beast within you. A very valid purpose of meditation. I guess my point is that it doesn't matter why or what your purpose is. It matters that you do it. And it's my belief that when you do a regular practice of meditation, my recommendation would be 20 minutes twice a day, but 1 minute once a day is life-changing. 1 minute once a day is life-changing meditation. And 20 minutes twice a day will really train your brain. And doing it for a couple of years that way, to really stick with it, at least even 1 year, will make long-term, lasting changes. We have this saying in the world of horses, and there's a whole world, I'm not involved in this world, it's called therapeutic horseback riding, and it's sort of occupational therapy on the back of a horse. It's often done for folks with physical limitations or developmental delays and lots of different diagnoses. There are sidewalkers, so people don't have to know how to ride. It's sitting on the back of the horse at the walk. Well, brain imaging and scans show that sitting on the back of the horse at the walk, it rotates your cerebral spinal fluid in such a way, perfectly, the same as walking, that it impacts your brain and makes a permanent change on your brain that lasts for the rest of your life, even 30 minutes, one time. So I think that meditation 30 minutes for one time will be very helpful and soothing and that kind of thing. But I don't think it will be quite that life-changing as 30 minutes on the back of a horse at a walk. That's to say, I want to say by that analogy that folks who are have significant limitations, say maybe even paralysis in their body, have that kind of brain change from 30 minutes on the back of the horse. But it stands to reason, this is not science, this is my sensitive brain thinking, that would benefit everybody. It might not be so dramatic for an able-bodied person to get on the horse and walk for 30 minutes. In fact, you might be so sore if you don't ride after that it takes you a long time to even feel good again. But what I want to say about it is, it stands to reason that if it benefits folks with such significant limitations so dramatically for the rest of their lives, it changes how their brain functions, that it's going to change our brain to some extent. And I feel like the same is true for meditation. Every little stab you make at it. So all of that is telling me that I better do a little more meditating today. I will. In fact, when I meditated this morning, I went into a really creepy dream that's sort of real life. I'll tell you it. The title of this section will be, What Happens When Meditation Opens Up Your Sub or Unconscious Enough That You End Up into basically a dream. And it goes on and on and on. And maybe it's 2 minutes, and maybe it's 20 minutes, and maybe it's 2 hours, the way dreams are, and the way meditation is when you completely get lost in it. But I was at the dentist's office, a place where I have some phobia. And I have an implant that's loose that has to be extracted. And there's a lot of drama around it, $2,500 to get it extracted. And then there'll be no tooth there, which, it'll cost lots and lots of money to get a new tooth. But that's not even the biggest concern. I do have a credit card. It'll be okay. The biggest concern is the fear and the pain. And going back again and again. So in my dream, my implant had fallen out. And the crown that somebody told me is like basically super glued onto the implant came loose because they can't get the crown off to check the implant. But it's so loose it has to come out. It's touching a nerve, the implant is. And so there could be nerve damage when it's extracted. Okay, have I given you your own nightmares yet? Well, in my dream over and over again, there were 2 things that I wanted to tell the dentist, but he had given me some kind of sedative like they do for these big dental surgeries. And so I couldn't talk. So over and over in my mind, I was thinking, would you please go slowly with the needles? I hate needles, especially in my mouth. And did you know that they can just barely go inside and inject some of it? If they wait 30 seconds, that part will be numb. And then they can go a little deeper and inject a little more and wait 30 seconds. And instead of just sticking the needle in 1/2 inch, that's not what they do, but that's how it feels. So if you could slow your dentist down just 2 minutes, the numbing process would be so much less dramatic and painful. So I wanted to ask him that, can you please be gentle with the needle? And then the other thing I wanted to tell him about this nerve, because it wasn't the specialist who told me about the nerve in real life. It was the regular dentist. So I'm in this chair and they're waiting for me to be, out of it enough, but I can still sign. They keep giving me paper to sign my name, and I can still sign my name, so I'm not out of it. And so anyway, it goes on and on. But this process, my brain needed to process the fear, and it's not done. I'm sure it will be back some more as I continue to try to get other opinions and see who I want to have do it. And it's not the only tooth that needs help. Blah blah blah. So that was a purpose of meditation for me. It came out of my meditating, my morning meditation. I went into this place. Maybe I even dozed off so that I could truly dream. But it gave my unconscious brain an opportunity to really think actively about the fears. So one more purpose of meditation. Well, we've been going at this long enough. It's 45 minutes, and I thank you for listening. And this will be, excuse me, pollen. This video will be up on my channel. We'll pull it down and edit out some of the delays and the not smooth parts. But I would love to hear from you about how your Mother's Day was. And any other comments or questions. I think the chat will still be live, and you'll be able to keep chatting about it. And we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll talk. Please drop me an email. Are you highly sensitive? And I'll just say one more time here at the end, If you have noticed ads in my YouTube videos, I want to tell you that YouTube is running those ads and getting the money from them. And I cannot monetize my YouTube channel. No ads can benefit Are You Highly Sensitive in all of our scholarship programs. None of the ads can benefit that until we have about 500 hours more of public watch time. So please throw on some of my videos and watch them, including this one. This counts. And let's increase those hours so that we can help more sensitive people, and especially the sensitive youth in the world. I really appreciate you, and I'm here for you. So let me know what your questions and concerns are. I try to, if you send me an email, areyouhighlysensitive@gmail.com, about a question that you would like me to make a video about, I'm happy to add it to my parenting sensitivity or HSP how-to playlist. I'll answer your question and put that video up for you and let you know. So thank you so very much. I wish you a gentle and peaceful Mother's Day.